Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Make sure you use the code CHGO when you sign up. The hot dog, Batman, and I believe Maverick in the corner here on Halloween with you. World Series tied at 1. Oh, that is Maverick. He's looking for his music. I see what's going on. Is that the Dark Knight or is it Batman? I'm not sure. What voice are we going to get?
I'm Batman.
Oh,
Ryan has to talk like that the entire show. I'm voting for it.
And the thing is, if you're not watching on YouTube and you're listening to the podcast later, Ryan looks like that's an expensive Batman costume that maybe he wears more often than we know. We're just not.
Probably wears it to bed.
Oh, hold on a second, guys. I'm getting a call. Hold on.
I can finally do it.
Yeah, I got to go, Admiral. I got to go. Sorry, next time. Now reporting as Top Dog. Top Dog. If I could change my name, I would. I did see, you ready for this? I saw the new Top Gun movie finally this week. Finally rented it.
Nice.
It's better than
good?
Batman.
Did you like it?
It's better than The Dark Knight.
Wow.
It was so good. Did you guys both see it?
No,
I have not.
No,
it's
it's really good.
Batman. No
Now
way.
I have to go back and watch the original, but the second one was way better than I expected.
Sounds
way
like you
better
have to
than
go
I
back and watch The Dark Knight too.
I agree.
All right. Well, Top Dog's going to take his shades off because he can't see anything he wrote down. The sunglasses on at home.
Oh my! This is off the rails already. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Halloween. I love it. As a kid, I'm not as hardcore into candy as some other kids are. Do you guys have favorite candy that you like? You would seek out as a kid? Do you have your top 5?
When I was a kid, I didn't have a favorite, but as I got older and realized how much I narrowed down my choices, I came up with a top 5. Twix #1 overall.
Yes, Twix is number
overall.
Correct.
You're both
And
wrong.
I go-
Snickers is #1.
That's not even top 5, brother.
Snickers are obviously
no, it's
Snickers
not
is
even
number
my
1,
top
2,
five.
3, 4, and 5.
No, definitely not. But okay. Twix, Reese's peanut butter cup, Kit Kat, Milky Way, and then M&Ms. And it doesn't matter if it's the regular or the peanut.
Well, you got a lot of mine. I'm Twix, Kit Kat, Milky Way, 3 Musketeers, and then another Kit Kat.
And then another Kit Kat. There you go.
By the way, Batman, you sound like maybe you have laryngitis. Was there a bender that you went to? Were you out on a bender this weekend?
I was fighting crime. I was looking for justice. I only drink justice.
Drink justice, yes. No,
Oh boy.
I don't even know where to go. Batman's so good. Scary Cubs. You want to go with that topic? Scary Cubs. Who's your scariest Cub?
Zambrano.
Yeah. I mean, for sure he is, right? In more ways than one, he's the scariest Cub of all time. Nobody wants to fight Big Z.
2015, 2016, Jake Arrieta is up there.
Oh,
Strike fear.
for a different reason.
Or like John Lester. John Lester's someone I wouldn't want to scare or get in a tussle with.
What about Kyle Farnsworth? Screw loose.
Yeah.
Especially now after he's bulked up like 200 pounds.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Well, what about Soriano's pretty beefed up? I don't know if I'd want to go after Soriano either.
And his hot dad summer. Yeah.
That's right.
That vibe. I don't know if that's scary, but it's definitely impressive.
I've never really seen him super angry. So I would stick with Zambrano's the scariest Cub of all time. And if you're going with like Arrieta would be a good one, and like Sammy would be, Summer of Sammy would be good too.
Mm-hmm.
A quick final question on Halloween. If you're out trick-or-treating and somebody hands you a bag of candy corn, your reaction is yay, or you're going back to smash their pumpkins outside on their stoop?
I'm a yay. I like candy corn.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a candy corn guy. I was eating some on Saturday.
Really?
I'm an A. I don't eat candy corn. It's not good.
He only drinks Justice. He doesn't eat candy corn. He only drinks justice.
Yes.
And eats it.
And eats justice too. What did you guys think? What did you think of the first couple games of the World Series? Huh? My Phillies predictions looking better. Looking better.
Listen, game 1 was the biggest bad beat of my life. I mean, the biggest comeback since the 1950s or some shit. Like, I had Astros minus 1.5,
Yeah.
and it looked great. You had Justin Verlander on the mound. You're up 5-0, and you not only do you allow them back in the game, but you blow it and lose in extra innings. I honestly thought Philly was going to win game 2, and then the Astros came out and dominated. So credit to them for putting that one to the side, knowing it was just one game and coming back out and, getting back on track. Now they got to go to Philly and they have to at least win one there. It's going to be tough. I don't think Philly's lost at home this postseason. So we're gonna see. I don't know. I will give Philly credit. They played better than I expected. So.
My guy Castellanos has been pretty good too. How about that catch in the first game? When I picked him, I just assumed I was picking just offense. So far, the biggest play of the World Series has been his catch, maybe.
It has to be. It has to be because Jeremy Pena literally almost had another rookie postseason moment that no one saw coming, and then Castellanos, who's not known for his defense, makes that sliding.
I love the interview after the game that they did with Castellanos, where he basically says, "Oh yeah, in the postseason, I try harder. Basically, like if these games in the regular season meant more, I would be a better player." Like that's basically what he said. Like I was mad because the Astros couldn't cover the 1.5, but then I watched that interview and I'm like, I can't even be mad about it anymore because that was just like the most nonchalant. Like I don't give a shit about anything, but I'm really good at baseball, so. Yeah. Like it was
pay me millions.
Like,
pay me millions, and you're going to get about 75%. Unless the game counts, then I'll give you like 98.
Yeah, that's basically what he said.
It was nuts because me and Cody on the bet show were talking about that minus 1.5 Astros, and they went up 5-0, and I looked golden.
Ryan texted me. He's like, "Oh, we're looking good right now," and then
it happened, and then I texted him back. I'm like, I'm a damn jinx.
Yep. I was
You're
mad.
not allowed on that show again.
I wish I'd taken Kyle Tucker though. Kyle Tucker had a hell of a game one.
Too.
Unfortunately, no one's gonna really remember it except for the only people that will remember that game are Phillies fans. But like, the Astros lost that game and they blew it, and Kyle Tucker had the game of his life. Like, sour ending for him. But yeah, no, the way that the Astros started that game, and it was all because of him. Basically, was. Did anyone take him for who you got?
No one did.
No. I remember
Astros
looking down at the list, thinking about it, and I was like, nah, there's other names. I went Castellanos, I think, with my last pick instead of him.
I had Altuve, and he's continued to struggle, so that's not.
He had a good game on Saturday. Like 3 hits, I think.
Oh, did he finally break? I didn't watch the game on Saturday because I was at a Halloween party, but I followed it. I didn't really pay attention to the box score, though.
Did you have a costume for Saturday's Halloween party?
Yes, I was Ron Stoppable from Kim Possible with Cassidy. She was Kim Possible, and I was Ron Stoppable. It was not by choice. It was by her telling me that's what I was being. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Welcome
if
to
you
life.
Go on her Instagram.
Welcome
you
to
can
life.
Find
Welcome to real life, Cody.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
I did pick Bregman. Bregman had a game on Saturday.
Yeah.
So Bregman, Jeremy Pena still playing well.
I'm just glad it's a series, right? Like even if they win 3 in a row now, the Astros, like I'm glad at least right now it's a series and it's not just 2-0. Because if it was 2-0, I think most people would be like,
Yeah.
What about Fromber and the whole sticky stuff or cheating, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Are we? Do we care? Like I genuinely don't care, but I'm curious about you guys.
I personally don't care. It's interesting that seems like they've been checking a lot more in the postseason. Teams, I don't know if they're just trying to mess with somebody's mind, the pitcher's mind, because it's already high stakes and it's ready, the anxiety would be up. But I don't really remember it happening too much in the regular season. Do you?
No. Honestly, I forgot that it was a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And you remember how when the rules changed
Did we lose him?
Who did we lose? Cody?
Am I here? Am I here?
There you go, Cody.
Okay. I don't know what happened. Didn't tell me
You
I was
must
gone.
have that Comcast internet that I had the other day.
RCN. It's not great either,
RCN.
apparently. And I'm even wired in, so I don't understand. Remember whenever they first changed the rule, and then like everyone on the internet kind of reacted to how MLB went about it in terms of like in game, like pitcher walks off the mound, they check his hands or whatever. And like people talked about how it was going to like ruin like the classic walk-offs for a pitcher whenever they come out like to get that standing ovation and stuff like that. And really this year wasn't much of a, like no one paid attention to it. No one, like it didn't bother anyone. So I think it's just something that took a while for people to adjust to, but yeah, honestly, like the whole Mets thing with Joe Musgrove, I honestly thought that was all about what a picture. Thank you, Joey, for that. Now that's Ryan should make that his Twitter picture, honestly.
Yeah. Some kind of handle.
Anyway, what I was getting at is I felt like the whole Joe Musgrove thing in the Mets, I think that was the two teams, right? Yeah. That was all spiraled based off the video that went viral online. And then today or the Saturday game, I felt like that situation wouldn't happen because of the video that went viral online. So I don't know. I didn't watch the game. Were people talking about it? Like, were the broadcast talking about it?
I'm with you. I didn't watch game 2.
Yeah.
That's bad, right? Like, I mean, but you know what? That's what baseball gets when you go up against college football.
Yep.
You know, what do you expect to happen?
Right.
That's why you should have started it and played those first 2 games on like Wednesday, Thursday.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, remember when we said they should flex it and they had the whole week to play baseball, they didn't. And we're like, you could flex it. Like, could still get like 2 or 3 days off. And then you're going up Friday and Saturday against, college football, NBA.
Halloween parties. Right?
Halloween parties, all that stuff.
The NFL on Sunday. Like, well, even though they didn't play yesterday, but still, like, they're going to play tonight, and Monday Night Football is on tonight. And I know it's Browns-Bengals, but I guarantee you a lot of people are still going to be paying attention.
They will, but still, Browns-Bengals, at least you got a shot.
Yeah, they definitely have a better shot.
Yeah.
I'm not as excited Browns-Bengals. Before all of that happened, and I guess this was actually live when Brendan and Corey were doing their show. I hate to be negative Nelly here, Captain Buzzkill, but the injuries to Canario, and we'd already been talking about Brendan Davis. Like, where's he been since like October 10th? And finally, it's now coming out that it is back tightness. And maybe it's nothing related to the surgery, but that would seem almost impossible, right? Like, the guy had back surgery and missed 3.5 months. And I know it wasn't structural, but it seems awfully odd that it'd be the same injury, And then the Canario thing, I can't even watch it anymore. That's like when Robin Ventura broke his ankle or Joe Theismann broke his leg. Like, it's one of those. As soon as you watched it, it's not. And I was debating whether we show it on the podcast. Like, I don't think so. If you want to see it, go see it. It's that.
I hope everyone by now has seen it. Like, I of the 19 people watching currently, I'm going to assume that they have all already seen the Canario injury because it blew up online. Again. No, I definitely don't. No.
Yeah, no, it was that Thursday night that it happened. And so like we got to hear Brennan and Corey's live reaction on their Friday show. No, it was bad. It wasn't. I don't know how much if like the bigger bases or anything will help with that because it looked like just an awkward step and it was very bad to watch. And it sucks for a guy like that who had a good season and it was like they had there was the idea that he may be ready to come up at some point in 2023, Canario, and now that is a big setback for him. I don't know the timeline of like recovery. I know they said surgery because it was the ankle and then a separated shoulder as well. Was it some kind of shoulder injury? That
separated shoulder, severe ankle break.
Yeah, and like so he's going to need surgery. He's going to be just rehab time of that, and then just to get ready for spring training as like at best. Kurt says in the chat 3 to 6 months. So like that could be like on the good end, he's ready to go by spring training, but on the bad end, he's still recovering after the season starts. So you don't really know for sure what's going to happen, but it's just like at this point, 2023 isn't as like clear cut. Canario is going to make his debut. And then that affects other things that the Cubs may have tried to do this offseason as far as like, would he have been a trade piece? Would he have been, a guy that other teams, looking to offload some major league guys, some good major league guys, and get back some good prospects in return? Was he going to be a guy that he could have been involved in those talks? Possibly. And now that seems a lot less clear like that might actually happen. So it's just a bad injury for Canario, and bad certainly for him. Like, you feel for the guy. That's a brutal injury to see. You never want to see players get injured, but like in the secondary note, it's like it's brutal for the Cubs in terms of like how they were going to plan out this offseason, this winter, and then go into 2023. It throws a wrench in a lot of that stuff.
Absolutely. And I honestly, and I feel bad in a way saying this, but I think it hurts more for me watching it in terms of, or hearing about the news as part of Canario potentially being someone they could have traded to get something back. Because the Cubs are just loaded at outfield. And like, I just don't know where he fits in. Obviously I'm excited about Matt Mervis, and I still have lots and lots of hope about Brennan Davis for obvious reasons. When you got Happ and Suzuki in your corner outfield, and you got other guys on the farm too that are in the outfield that are doing well, like, you're going to have to move one of them. And I mean, I would have been okay if the Cubs kept him. I also would have been okay if they traded him to get something big back. He would have been able to get something big back. I still have some optimism that maybe they could, but I think they'd have to throw in another piece to be able to get anything really significant, just because you just don't know with that injury, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's tough. This is like the downfall of, and again, I'm not going to, we've talked about these trades. We've talked about the direction of the team over the last year and a half. We talked about it at ends, but this is kind of like the setback it is whenever you are trying to, when you sell off all of the pieces of the core. When something like this is when this happens, then you look back and you're like, man, maybe we should have kept one. You know what I mean? And like, that's what bothers me. That's whenever people in the chat that are still talking about those guys that we have had talked about at ends, that's when I feel with them. That's when I feel with them, because not that I think anything would be any different if Chris Bryant was still on this roster, but at the same time, if they keep one, you at least have a proven guy. And now with Canario being out and you don't know when he's coming back, this injury could, we don't know how the guy heals. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm not. All I know is that his injury on top of Davis's, like, quote unquote, back tightness, it makes you feel, I feel pessimistic about the outfield depth now and what the Cubs could potentially do with it if they did want to make a trade. So, this is what it is, I guess. Brennan Davis, I'm leaning more towards, hoping that it's just precautionary, because it's just in the fall league. But at the same time, it's like the guy needed at bats. So yeah, I'm a little like, I don't know how to say it, just worried, but maybe not as worried as I am for Canario. But that's for obvious reasons, because that injury is so much worse.
I've got three. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say I got three things on it. One is, first of all, like Ryan was saying, that the position potentially was open to either one of those guys for opening day. Like, center field is available to somebody. Like, Morel has played there a lot, yes, but Morel has flexibility. That position was open for one of those guys to grab it in spring training. And now it's impossible for Canario. I don't think it's even possible, but and for Brennan Davis, it seems awfully unlikely as well. So you were never going to have, as an amateur or as a minor, I shouldn't say an amateur, as a minor league player without any major league experience, you were never going to have higher trade value in Canario than you did after this last season. The guy was hitting bomb after bomb after bomb. So if you were looking to make one of those big trades, there is no question that he is a guy that other teams would be targeting as that's one of the guys we want. So you absolutely have one less trade chip, because nobody's going to trade for him now. Not this offseason, they're not. Nobody's going to be like, yep, separated shoulder, and not just a broken
for him
ankle.
Separately, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. But not just the shoulder, a severely broken ankle. Like, I've read a few things about the surgery. It's like the healing process is different than other broken ankles. it's definitely not a good thing. And the other thing is, I see James saying Judge is a must now. Okay, yeah. Well, first of all, paying money for free agents should be more of a must now at this point, because you're way less likely to make that big trade, because a couple of your chips, even if Brendan Davis was one of them, like a couple of those chips are banged up. You start to throw in, Cody Hoyer, and you throw in who's the other reliever that had Tommy John this year that I can't think of?
Ethan Roberts.
Ethan Roberts. Like, nobody's trading for any of those guys. Not while they're hurt, they're not. So some of your big names that could have been trade chips are off the market. And it points out, and I think, Ryan, you said this on Twitter, it's like this is why you have to build that depth in the farm system, because it could happen any day to a pitcher, but it can happen to your position players too. And there's no guarantee that even if they are healthy when they get up, they're going to be great. And so, when we've talked about all of the trades, and we'll say like, to give up 5 of these prospects for this guy. Well, I mean, this just amplifies both sides of that. One, you don't know what those guys are going to be, but B, you got to have the depth in your organization. Even if you think you have the depth, sometimes you don't, because you just don't know what's going to happen in the future to these guys. And we don't know what's going on. Like Kyle Hendricks is another guy who's got a shoulder injury, right? So you have a lot of guys that are question marks physically coming off this season, and that is not a good thing for sure.
No, and then it also goes to like kind of when we talked about Cody Bellinger last week, and center field's open. They want Brennan Davis and Canario to come up at some point, sure. But then you also see like why you can't just rely on prospects to fill those roles. Not just because they've never done anything at the big league level, but because that things like this could happen, right? So am I saying that the Cubs need to go and give Ian Happ like a 6-year extension and go out and sign some other guy for 6 years? No, I'm not saying that. But you need to have big league level depth, not just minor league guys, but guys like a Cody Bellinger who could be up there. Take up some time in the outfield, because even if these guys weren't injured and were ready to go, you can't just rely on Seiya Suzuki, Brennan Davis, and Ian Happ to be your outfield and let the chips fall from there. Like, you need to build up, if you plan on competing, you need to build up a lot of the depth that can withstand things like injuries. We saw on the pitching side how much first half. Wade Miley was hurt for basically the entire first half. Stroman was in and out, or on and off the IL. Drew Smiley missed a month. Kyle Hendricks dealt with stuff and they didn't have the depth to withstand that. And the same goes for position players. Like, if the Cubs were to sign, again, just throwing the name out there, Cody Bellinger, but then Brennan Davis and or Alexander Canario are ready to come up at some point next season, then you got a solid outfield depth there. Even if Cody Bellinger is your guy off the bench in some way, like that's not a bad outfield to have. So to say like they don't need to go plug these holes just because they have guys waiting in the minor leagues, I don't agree with that. I think they need to address the okay, Michael Culata.
Hey, Batman, Ricketts won't spend.
Anyway, to have, I lost my train of thought. To have the depth that to withstand those injuries, you need to fill those holes at the big league level, even if you do have really good guys in the minor leagues, because if those guys are that good and are that ready, they'll come up and they'll win the job themselves.
Yeah.
But you need to have the depth. You need to have the backup plans.
I'll say this, like, I am, like I said, I'm very worried about the outfield situation with the minor league guys, but we also haven't heard from Jed yet on like the status. Like, all we know is just the report that Davis's back tightness, and then that we've seen the video of Canario, and like, I would like to hear from Jed on like the timetable for these guys. But either way, like, obviously Canario is going to be out for months. But Davis is just like like I said at the beginning, like, it could be a precautionary thing. It could be a more serious thing. We genuinely don't know. So that's why I would like to hear from Jed on it. But yeah, I'm with you, Ryan. We even before these injuries, I said that they should be, if Cody Bellinger gets non-tendered, they should go after him. Like, I still feel like the Dodgers are going to do it if they are going to want to spend significant money to try and go and get Judge. So, I think if you do that, if they do that, and Davis is healthy in the spring, and you still got Morel who can play some center field, I think that those three combined out in center is fine for next year's team. So we're gonna see, but yeah, it's just sucks right now. It's just like you were going into the offseason with so much momentum, like on the major league team and on the minor league team, you felt like, and to see like how the Arizona Fall League is gone for Brennan Davis, it's so discouraging. I mean, at least Matt Mervis is still mashing down there. Like he continues to just continue to show that he deserves to be at first base for the Cubs next year. So, I mean, if you want me to spin zone it for you about the Cubs farm right now, is it's that guy. He just keeps doing it. I don't know why. I don't know how, but he just keeps doing it. So that's encouraging, at least.
Unless he's become now the top trade target for some other teams, or at least a big name that teams are looking for, because the other guys aren't available. And, I saw somebody, I think it was Joe in the chat, mentioning the article talking about Marquis ratings being way down, and, profits are down. And I can't decide if that's good news or bad news. Like, are the Cubs really going to try to spend to try and boost their TV network and increase their attendance, which they should? Or are we looking at a headline that was thrown out there so that we can get this is a Michael Collada conspiracy theory. Is it a headline that's been thrown out so we can now go, well, their ratings were down, so they don't have the money they said they thought they were going to have, because the money from the TV network, the wheelbarrows aren't as full as we thought the wheelbarrows were going to be. I still think it's the first one, but I could see people making arguments for both sides to it. Hey, what do you guys think about the hitting coach? I saw The Athletic was pointing out that now, so Greg Brown fired or offered to be reassigned, but they believe he's going to look elsewhere, and Dustin Kelly promoted to hitting coach. That is 14 different hitting coaches for the Cubs from 2012 to 2022. Ooh,
I'll just say that it was surprising.
We've had less quarterbacks for the Bears than we've had hitting coaches for the Cubs. It's the most revolving door there is in business.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna put this out there, but like me and Ryan saw Greg Brown at Bernie's like a month ago,
right? Yeah,
and like he seemed like the nicest dude, and he talked up to me and him about how the culture and the clubhouse environment and everything seemed like he enjoyed it. It seemed like he was happy to be there. So I am surprised to see that they wanted to bring up a new hitting coach, because I don't think he was good or bad at his job. I felt like, it was whatever. Like, I didn't think the hitting was so bad that he deserved to be fired, but I don't know how much of an impact he had on Ian Happ or any of these young guys, but like, I don't know. Like, to me, it was one of those, like, maybe they wanted to give him a different position, but he wasn't interested. So maybe he's going to go look somewhere else. But just based off that one interaction with him, he seemed like he was happy with the Cubs organization itself. Yeah. So, wouldn't you agree, Ryan?
Well, I'm going to go back and kind of just from the beginning. Yeah. So Greg Brown out, Dustin Kelly is now, he was for 2 years, I believe, the minor league hitting coordinator. Now is being promoted to the hitting coach job of the Cubs. I'm still surprised that the Greg Brown, they're parting ways. I know he's going to be, he was offered a job in a different capacity, but I think he's looking at other opportunities, assuming that means, he still wants to be a hitting coach at this level. So it was surprising news to get on Friday for sure. But as far as why it happened, I'm curious, and I wonder if this had more to do with wanting to keep Dustin Kelly in the organization versus anything Greg Brown did. I mean, the numbers weren't great. I wrote a few of them down. They had a 97 WRC plus, which is 20th in the majors. They had the 10th highest strikeout rate at 23.8%. And then for a team that was, touted as this like a change from a high strikeout team to now more of a contact heavy lineup. They were 28th in contact rate, 74.9%. They had a 19th overall in F4, 15.7, and then 16th in weighted on base average at 307. They were very middle of the pack to the back end of the major leagues in terms of or on the offensive side. It's not like he had a great lineup to work with. I'll give him that.
Exactly.
Like there weren't a ton of proven hitters at this level. Even Nico Horner kind of came in with question marks, and he really took a big step forward. Ian Happ took a really, really big step forward on both sides of the plate. Seiya Suzuki had his ups and downs, but eventually, like by the end of the season, he was hitting well again. Morel kind of had his own ups and downs too, and probably didn't improve them as much as like Seiya did towards the back end, but he's also 23. A lot of time to work with. So there were some success stories in there, but overall the offense wasn't great. And Jed kind of talked about that in his press conference, that they obviously just didn't score enough runs. And a lot of that had to do with the lack of power. So again, it's not all on Greg Brown because the roster he was given to work with at the hitting level just didn't match up to what a competitive lineup needed to be. So it does make me wonder if they really, I know they want it because they want to do what they did with on the pitching side with Craig Breslow all the way down, everyone on the same page, everyone, working hand in hand in tandem, the same message going all the way from the top of the offensive or the pitching side all the way down through the minor league ranks, minor league pitching coordinators, all that stuff. And I know they want to do that same thing on the hitting side. So that starts with, Justin Stone, director of hitting. And then so maybe that's all it bogs down to is they wanted to keep Dustin Kelly in there, who was, oversaw the hitting on the minor league side, and they wanted to keep him in the organization, and the way to do that was by promoting him. Again, it's not like I think that's the thing that maybe makes the most sense to me. And I'm not reporting that. I don't know that for a fact, but it just feels like something that it makes more sense than like they want, because Greg Brown came in with a lot, like a very high. He wasn't a high regard. He was a highly sought after hitting coach last year because he was previously the Rays minor league hitting coordinator, and did a good job there. Obviously, the Rays have a great system in place on their hitting side, so he was highly sought after. So it wouldn't make sense that after just 1 year of Greg Brown that they just saw like it wasn't going to work out and they needed him to go, right? Again, not saying that for certain. I don't know exactly what the reasoning was, but that it just feels like it may have more to do with wanting to keep Dustin Kelly around than anything Greg Brown really did wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think
offense. Sorry,
go ahead, Cody.
I was just gonna say, like, considering what the top guys who emerge as top prospects, and even just other guys as well that are in the Cubs top 30, a lot of them taking big steps, not just on the pitching side. Obviously, I'm getting at on position player side if we're talking about hitting. A lot of them did take big jumps this year. Joel says in the comments, if Dustin has anything to do with the hitting resurgence in the system, then I'm okay with it. And that's basically where I'm at. Like I gave you my open reaction to when I saw the news. I was like, this doesn't seem like I was surprised. And then I talked myself into them maybe taking the guy that left the Cardinals, and then then I was wrong about that too. So I don't know. I'm just whatever. I hope this guy's the guy and they have him for at least the next 3 years, because you look at the Dodgers, you look at the Dodgers, and Brant Brown has been their hitting coach for years. And it's become so bad with the Cubs and hitting coaches that people make a joke about it. And we sit and laugh about it because it's it's the worst job in the Cubs organization because no one can keep it. So I just hope this guy's the guy. I don't necessarily use a hitting coach as a scapegoat for why guys aren't hitting or whatever, but it seems like the organization does with how many times they get rid of a guy. So, I don't know. I genuinely it's the major leagues. It's all about performing. You're a major league player, perform. If you don't perform, you're going to lose your job. It's just what happens. But at the same time, you got to have the right coaches in there. You can tell at most when the manager if the team isn't winning. He's always a scapegoat, but sometimes you can really tell if that person is having an effect, a lasting effect on a team. We saw it front and center on the south side of the town this year. So like, we're good there, but this hitting coach thing is just like, I hope he's the guy. Like I said.
Yeah, Kelly was in the Dodge. He was a hitting instructor in the Dodgers organization before he came to the Cubs. So again, a good pedigree, just like Brown had coming in, and he's been obviously doing good things at the minor league level. When you see, like you said, Mash Mervis and all those, I can't blame Brown. So I'll agree with Ryan's theory that they just love Kelly so much that they just thought they couldn't afford to lose him. I don't, and so maybe they thought Brown would take the reassignment and they could keep both guys in the organization. I just don't buy the like, hey, the offense wasn't good and this is why we have to change the hitting coach, because the guys that with major league talent that we know have major league talent, their hitting improved this year. Contreras improved, Happ improved. Morel was good when he got here. I mean, obviously Nico, and the guys that don't, they don't. And a hitting instructor at the major league level isn't going to fix it. They didn't have enough talent. That's why they didn't score runs. They didn't have good hitters, not because they didn't have a good coach. They didn't have guys that were really major league baseball ready. Period. Like not every guy that comes up and plays in a major league uniform is a major league level player. He's not necessarily that caliber. Guys get to guys get there and they get a little cup of coffee. I guess that means you're a major leaguer, but you're not a quality major league baseball player. You're just a guy that got up, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, don't penalize the hitting coach. I mean, I agree that that's what's going on this time, but when you've had 14 different guys in 10 years, it's also a scapegoat for the organization just to say, well, we got to fix, don't look at me, look at these guys. Like, this is the guy. And that part of it's kind of BS. Ryan, 2 out of 3 hosts on this show are wearing sunglasses. Where are your Shady Rays?
I can't fit the Shady Rays over my mask.
Okay. But Batman doesn't really need
well, Batman, Batman, I have the ability to my cowl, I can throw shades in like electronically. Like, we're good.
Right.
Eyes, I don't need the shades. I have a lot of money. I have the ability to build that into my
Alfred and that other guy that has the lab and get you all the stuff.
Lucius Fox.
That's the guy.
That's my guy. That's
your guy, yeah.
But Shady Rays, so if I did have Shady Rays on, they'd look cool. They'd look sleek. They'd look like the best sunglasses you could find out there. Talking about Shading Rays, they never understood why sunglasses were so expensive, so they set out to change it. You don't have to break the bank for quality sunglasses this fall because our friends at Shady Rays have you covered. Shady Rays are premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles catered to everyone and every lifestyle. The best part about Shady Rays, they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear, lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your shades on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Say you drop them in the lake, say you drop them off a cliff, you get in a fight with Batman and they fall off your head. The Shady Rays will replace them. Even with that strong of a protection program, they still manage to make quality that I can tell you holding in my hand seems just as good as any expensive pair that I've ever worn. Shady Rays customers seem to agree with over 200,000 5-star reviews. The Shady Rays also provides 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order placed and have donated over 20 million meals to date. They stand behind their product and told our team that if anyone has a problem, they throw profit out the window and do what it takes to get it right. Free returns and exchanges. You either love the shades or Shady Rays will pay to ship them back. That's it. And now, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. Buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades.
Very nice. I see that David is giving Ryan best costume. He's saying Luke the hot dog. While my name says hot dog, remember, it is actually Top Dog. Top Dog. Combination of Maverick and a hot dog. Top Dog. Okay, dog? Thanks. Athletic Greens, our next partner, has a product I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 because I didn't have time, wanted better gut health, More energy and an optimized immune system. Now I've been on it for months, and I love it. It doesn't taste super healthy, but it is kind of a mild tropical taste. I look forward to taking it in the morning. Here's what it is. 1 scoop of AG1. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens to start your day right. A special blend of ingredients supporting your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, energy, recovery, focus, aging, all those things. I get a boost of energy, so I take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and it's lifestyle friendly too. Whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, you're all good with AG1. You're investing in all-in-one nutritional insurance for less than $3 a day, recommended by professional athletes with more than 7,000 5-star reviews. So right now, reclaim your health, arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs. Again, athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And if you're going out, trick-or-treating, filling up the bucket with Twix, which is the obvious goal, not Reese's. Stop with the Reese's. Please stop that. Then the way to balance that out is a good dose of AG1 in the morning.
Ooh, that's what I had my AG1 this morning because today I'm Maverick. I'm Steve.
That's
and
right.
I'm Luke Stuckmeyer.
Yeah, you're going to train to be a Top Gun pilot.
Yeah.
AG1.
Yeah. David, I am Luke today. I couldn't find my Travis Matthew hat though. That's why I don't look like Luke fully. But I'm doing the best with the glasses. Okay.
Well, you are a vibe. No question about it.
At least I always have the vibes. I'm that guy.
If you had an who you got trophy over your shoulder, it would look more like me.
You think so?
Yeah.
Even though I won.
Rachel says these costumes straight fire. I would agree. Last minute costumes, not bad.
Yeah. Not bad. I just happened to see this at Party City and it worked out. And I saw someone was wearing the exact same Batman costume, like some athlete. I don't remember who it was. But I saw it on Twitter. I'm like, you know what? He went to Party City because it's the exact same costume that I'm wearing.
Nice. Party City's got some pretty good stuff.
Oh yeah.
I saw Braggs dressing up as the guy from Goonies on the Bears post-game show or pregame show yesterday. That was the best one I've seen so far this season. He had the Baby Ruth candy bar. It was really good. So if you're looking for a good costume, go back and look at the Bears pregame show podcast with Greg Braggs and the guys.
Yeah. Are we gonna grade?
Snyder's giving us grades now. B, C-. Corey B+. Why does Cody get a C-? Joey's a C. Well, those are some harsh grades.
What was Corey for Halloween? I don't know. I don't know what he was. Or
I don't know what Corey's going as.
Maybe he posted.
He doesn't get a haircut soon. We're gonna have to go back to like Tom Hanks from Castaway.
Let him know.
When we first met Corey, he walked in. I was like, "Who let cousin in the door? Like, what's going on here?" He
Joel
came back
says
the next day, all clean cut.
I love Joel's comment. He says a good costume is Luke Thickmeyer.
True.
Well,
I can be Luke Thickmeyer pretty easily.
Wait till I get all those Twix in me by the end of the week.
That's not even a costume. That's just how Luke lives his life.
Right.
Yeah. But balance is key because he takes his Athletic Greens, baby.
AG1 balances it all out. And, it's one of the hardest things coming up now is post-Halloween because everybody's going to bring their excess candy into work. So the jar has been kind of empty. Ooh, we have a jar of candy that sits on the countertop at work. It's really been sparse, which has been good for me. Like during the season, I was constantly going over there and getting like a mini Twix or a Milky Way or whatever.
Yes.
It's going to be bad news now. Like they're going to be
bad news bears. Yep.
It's going to be just filled with candy for months.
Me and Stuck will be taking half of it. Yep. I already know.
Good luck.
Should we go back to our report cards? We have 2 key members of the Cubs roster to grade today.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Brandon Hughes, report card. Cody, you want to go first? This is a guy was not on my radar coming into the season. He is on the radar going out.
Yeah. So I'm going B for results and B for stuff and adjustments and just B overall. I guess maybe like stuff/adjustments I could go higher, but I'm trying to look at it with all the relievers in the league. I mean, maybe even overall, you can argue him as an A because he was the best reliever for the Cubs in the second half, but it wasn't for a full season, so that's why I didn't. But I mean, he did more than just impress. I mean, the guy solidified himself a spot in the bullpen next year. The guy used to be an outfielder, which just continues to blow my mind a little bit. So yeah, I didn't know where else to really go. Again, you could argue the stuff and adjustments being a little bit higher because really after the All-Star break, he really took it up a notch and really became like a guy that David Ross could rely on. He was probably the one that he could rely on the most in the second half of the season. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he does next season. I see him as a 7th or 8th inning guy. And I think the big thing that I like the most about him is he throws left-handed, and the Cubs have searched for a high leverage left-handed reliever for years, it feels like, and it looks like they found one finally. So I'm excited for it. Again, maybe B is a little too low, but again, I'm looking at it compared to all relievers in the game. It's not like he's throwing 101 or 100 miles per hour out there, and there's a lot of relievers that do that. I just think he's really solid, so I'll give him a B for that.
Yeah, no, I agree with most of that. I went, let's see, I think I went B on stuff. No, B on, Joey, can we get, okay, there you go. B on results, A- on stuff and adjustments, and then B+ overall. I agree with a lot of the things that Cody said, especially like, the results were good, could be better. You give him a little benefit of the doubt because he, was an outfielder as much as like 3 years ago. And kind of came up at a time when he wasn't really he wasn't completely on the major league radar, I would say. Like he definitely wasn't it wasn't us going in and digging into Brandon Hughes' numbers all like the first 6 weeks of the season until he finally came up and we're like, okay, this guy's been doing pretty well in AAA. And then, I think he got optioned back down once for like 2 days after that. He came up May 17th. Got optioned May 28th, and then got brought back up on May 30th. So he came up and got the opportunity and ran with it. He he never went back down again. Like he became like David Ross's most trusted reliever after the trade deadline. He's a rookie, high leverage guy, and does pretty well in it. The numbers again could be a little bit better. That's why I kept them at a B as far as results. But I will say the reason I gave him the stuff and adjustments again is, as far as the adjustments go, I just said it. It's that he came up and by the end of the season, he was pitching in all high leverage innings and pitching pretty well. And he became a guy that when you went or when he would go out on the mound, you really didn't think anything of it. You're like, okay, Brandon Hughes is coming in. It's good. Cubs are fine here. That didn't always work out, but once you got that feeling that he's a trustworthy reliever, like that's kind of as far as like this guy went from a rookie to the most trusted reliever in the bullpen. If you're going to say anything about adjustments, that's the biggest one right there. And he did pretty well in it. As far as stuff goes, we know he has an awesome slider. He had a 49.1% whiff rate on the slider this season. That's incredible. But you see it even on the eye test. It looks good. It looks like, it breaks a lot. And he can throw it to lefties or righties, and he did. And he did pretty well with that. That said, most of the season was just four-seamer slider. And I think a lot of that had to do with he would come in lefty-lefty matchups for most of his first year. So you want to see, can he injure? He also threw a sinker and a changeup, not nearly as many times as the four-seamer slider, but he has that in the arsenal. So moving forward, you want to see if he can, do that to lefties and righties. If he could be your 9th inning guy, two lefties and then a righty comes on and he can still have success, whatever that situation is. You want to make sure that he can do that and isn't just a matchups based guy, because he did have some games there where he would come in and pitch to some righties and did well against them. You just want to see that over a full season and see, even if he is just your matchup based guy, it doesn't hurt to have a lefty high leverage guy in the bullpen that can come in when David Ross needs him to. So I ended up with a B+ for him. I thought it was a really, really good year. I didn't think it was especially at the level that, like Nico Horner, Ian Happ were at this year. But as far as like he came up around his opportunity and outperformed any expectations we could have possibly had for him this year. And I think that says about all you need to say about what Brandon Hughes did in 2022.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. Like, the expectations weren't super high. You didn't really know what you had. And you look at, I gave him very similar grades. You look at him and he made a position change. So where I went with adjustments, I go further back a couple years to when he's changing positions. He's still learning how to actually pitch, even though he did some of it at Michigan State, I believe, in college. But I thought the stuff and the adjustments, the stuff and adjustments part where I gave him the B+ also has to do with he was in the bullpen, and when they traded everybody away, it wasn't overwhelming for him. So like, it was more of a mental adjustment for him, I think. Like, he wasn't surrounded by the same type of pitching talent that he was previously, which when you have guys coming in before and after you that are lights out and doing a great job, it makes your job easier. Your stuff is just a little bit different. So I thought he did a great job. Again, he's one of those guys I can't give the A- to simply because I'm comparing him to the rest of the league. And also I'm comparing him to some of the other grades I've given his teammates, So if Nico Horner's not an A, Hughes is an A, but for what he did in the organization and the season he had, like if I'm him, I'm giving myself an A-. Like, there's room for improvement, but I had a successful season and I took a major leap in my major league development or in trying to become a solid or everyday major league reliever. And I think he is a guy that you can count on. I know bullpens are a little bit trickier, right? Like, some guys are good one year and then not the next. I don't think that's going to be the case with Hughes because the slider is so good, Ryan. He's got that pitch. And when you start getting some other guys around him, I'd like to see him come back and continue. I don't need him to be more than what he is, to be honest with you. Like, I don't need him to be the closer of the team or be the number 2 guy in the bullpen. I need him to be that lefty in high leverage situations. Be that guy, and that's a huge piece of the puzzle for any team that wants to be serious about contending for a playoff spot or doing something in the postseason. And he's doing it cheap, right? You're not. I can hear Collada saying, "Oh, Ricketts." Doing it cheap, low expectations, but now the expectations have been raised by this season. So just show us you can do it again. And if you have the same season next year or slightly better, that pumps you into the A category. Because I think for what you were expecting going into the season, he exceeded a lot of those expectations. I would say B+, B-, any of those are acceptable. I wouldn't go as high as an A, but definitely one of the guys that opened some eyes around baseball and in the organization and in the Cubs fan base. If you were paying attention to the games, he was solid. We have another grade coming up, right?
I wanted to say one last thing. I remember Jed talking. This just popped in my head from when Jed talked, I guess 3 weeks ago now, and basically said that they want to get to a point where that their pitching staff is all guys that they've grown. Like, they can fill out the pitching staff with their own guys, their own prospects, guys that have come through the system, learning and believing in what their, what the Cubs pitching infrastructure is and what the message is. And they want to get to a point where that's how the bullpen is made up. That's how the rotation is made up, where it's all like a lot of their guys. And I think Brandon Hughes is a really good starting point for some of that. I know Keegan Thompson might be in there too, Adbert, but Brandon Hughes is for a lefty, high leverage, maybe single inning, 4 out kind of guy. Like, that's another really good building block for a bullpen, in my opinion.
Agreed. I like his upside moving forward for sure. Pins and Aces, the official golf apparel partner of CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gear. Get tons of compliments on and off the course. A family-owned golf and apparel business. They are making amazing polos, hats, golf bags, even our favorite beer sleeve, an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers or pops right inside your golf bag and keep it stuck right next to you the entire round. Or you could take it if you have to go trick-or-treating with the kids, maybe take that sleeve and hide it inside your hot dog costume. It's just an idea. Check out pinsandaces.com and use the promo code CHGO to get 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. Hey, we don't want to forget, there's still a chance you can go out, allchgo.com. Make sure you get your tickets to the tailgate this weekend. We're all going to be there. I don't think I'm wearing the hot dog costume, hoping for decent weather, but tailgate number 2 now, Michigan and Roosevelt, $46. All the booze you can drink, all the beer you can drink, all the food you can eat. There's going to be bags there. There's going to be Green Ridge Farm. There's going to be all CHGO family is going to be there. And, again, everybody that's in the chat, we consider CHGO family. So join us at the tailgate. Even if you don't have a ticket. I don't have a ticket to the game, but I'm going to the tailgate, 8 to 12, good times, and might bring the Game Time app and think about last-minute ticket. Just another spot.
And while you're there, you can ask me about what I'm betting on the Bears and Dolphins game.
That's right.
On DraftKings.
You can make money on the whole thing.
True.
Absolutely.
You could leave it up $46 or $146.
You spend that $46, then you come talk to me at the tailgate and ask me what I'm betting on the Bears and Dolphins game or what else I'm betting on that entire day, because I'm going to bet the entire NFL slate. That's what I do from noon to 10 p.m. It's a lock. That's the biggest lock of the century of what's happening for me on NFL Sundays, guys.
How did you do this weekend? And what are you doing for Monday Night Football?
Monday Night Football, I'm taking Browns plus 3.5 because the Bengals have not won on primetime since 2012. And I know Joe Burrow is there now, but I'm just going to ride with that trend. But I do think the Bengals win that game. I just think it's going to be close. Browns home dog. I like it. Give me the hook with 3.5. Fine. I'll take the Browns. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm betting that on DraftKings.
Of course.
And other than just football, there's NBA. The NBA is, it's back. The wait is over and basketball is back. So tip off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a stepped up same game parlay today. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where to go bet on the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code CHGO. Make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. That said, I won $145 on a $5 parlay yesterday, and I won $80. I won $80 on Dawson Knox scoring the first touchdown last night on Sunday Night Football. It was a good day. It could have been better, but it was a good day, and it was a nice bounce back after a terrible college. I had a terrible day on Saturday. So
just gotta say, don't let Cody get hot. Don't let him get hot, DraftKings. Better watch out.
Get hot. It's time to, I went through a bad stretch. Now, return in the corner starts tonight. Browns plus 3.5. Let's ride.
Cody showed up on this podcast at first with just the sunglasses. I thought he's showing up as a gambler. That's what he's showing up as, just a diehard gambler.
I need to get like the turtleneck, like long sleeve, and then get a gold chain. Yes. And then I'd feel like Adam Sandler from Uncut Gems. You know what I mean?
I couldn't watch that movie. It was too much. I watched it, but it was uncomfortable. All right. So you got your report cards ready for Fonzie. This has been a much awaited report card. I know many people wanted to know what kind of grade are you giving Fonzie Rivas.
I will try to be as quick and short with it because I think we're all pretty similar. So with Rivas, Alfonzo Rivas, I went offense D, defense C+, and then overall D. Never forget that series in San Diego and Arizona, the West Coast trip, the 6-game West Coast trip, I think, or maybe it was 7. That was probably his peak moment of the season. That was back in like late April, early May, I think. And yeah, I remember everyone was excited about it, and people were, talking about how Rivas could be a guy, perhaps. And then it just, I don't know what happened. Came back to Wrigley, and things just went downhill from there. And honestly, you never even sniffed anything like that. Those performances the rest of the season. So this offense honestly gets a D. Just, I like the approach. He brings a great approach, like contact first, trying to just put the ball in play, but he just doesn't have the power that you want at first base. And that's just what you need. I mean, if he was getting more hits, like if he had, a higher batting average, was getting on base at a really nice clip, then you could talk me into it. But I mean, there's just not a lot to like there offensively. Defense, he's not bad at first base. He made some nice plays. There was a game back in August, I think, that me and Luke joked about how Rivas made like the play of the game or something like that, and and how he should have been who you got or something. I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, overall, he gets, what did I say, a D plus. So it's nothing against him. I think in a different role, he would be a valuable player just because I love the approach. But at this point, I think he's a depth piece that, an emergency, if you have an injury at first base, you need someone to come up and just play until the team figures it out or whatever. I guess the fact that he's 25, be 26 next year, gives you some hope that maybe he can improve. But like, as we've talked about with other guys, like the Cubs cannot just rely on him getting better. But I think he's just an organizational depth piece at this point.
Yeah, I'm mostly with you, Cody. It was pretty similar on the grades. Offense, I gave him a D. I actually went C on defense and then a D plus overall. Yeah, offensively, it's just one of the things that came coming into the season, and this goes with him and Schwindel, who we'll eventually get to, I know. But this was a year first base was open, and it was a chance for either one of them to kind of take it and run with it and make it their spot, claim that spot, and neither of them really did. Rivas had a disappointing year for me offensively. I mean, he hit 235. 322 on base, 307 slug, so only a .072 ISO. Like there was not a lot of pop there. He had an 82 WRC plus. It was actually a negative in terms of FWAR. And one of the things that really struck me, kind of looking into his numbers a little bit, that I feel like we talked about maybe a little bit during the season, but kind of as the seasons passed, we kind of forgot about it. But he really struggles to hit breaking balls. This is on Baseball Savant. He has a 160 batting average against breaking balls this year, 136 or 198 WOBA, 35.7% whiff rate against breaking balls. And we know how good pitching is these days, and especially the sliders, all the different sliders that pitchers throw, the different breaking balls, curveballs, that kind of stuff. But to succeed at this level, you have to be able to hit that, and he didn't really do that this year. There's a reason why he got optioned multiple times this year. I think basically all of August, I know he was at the Field of Dreams game, but pretty much all the rest of August that he wasn't on the big league team. And that's after the trade deadline too. It just wasn't a great year for him defensively or offensively, and then defensively, I give him a C. He played mostly at first base. He had a few, I think he had like 6 overall innings in the outfield. So the rest of his innings were all at first base exclusively. He ended up with 6 defensive runs saved at first base, but also -2 outs above average. And like overall in the outfield, again, only 6 innings. So it's not a huge thing. But it was all, 0-0 across the board pretty much. I think he's a good defender. And I think if it's like a defensive or a situation where you need someone with a solid, dependable glove at first base, that's probably him. But he just didn't play enough to make sure he showed that this year. Again, with him spending so much time being optioned up and down, didn't really have that opportunity. So I ended up with a D plus. Overall, just season wasn't what we wanted it to be. We wanted it to be better for him because he did show some signs of life there in 2021. Enough to get excited about, like, hey, this guy may be something to build on at first base. Then this year was just, I don't know if it was a full step back, but it definitely wasn't a step forward for him. And now you're still kind of looking like, okay, is Matt Mervis going to be the guy at first base versus like it could have been a season where Alfonzo Rivas locked it down, and now It's more of just what Cody said. He feels like an organizational depth piece at best.
Yeah, I mean, my grades are real similar to yours. I mean, disappointing in that the opportunity was there. He couldn't grab it. I gave his defense a B- just because I can't remember the specific play. I think it was a bunt that he caught, Cody, that we were talking about. He had a couple of great plays. We're like, okay, that shine. But other than that, okay, he's a good defensive player. Offensively, D-. It just wasn't there. And overall, the D+ as in I don't know if he is an everyday major league player, but he is depth. And I question whether or not he's a guy you protect if you're up against it on the 40-man roster. And the only reason I would say, after having a full season to prove it, that maybe he is a guy to protect if it comes down to it, is only because you don't have answers at first base. So if they go out and get me an everyday first baseman, or if they get someone like Cody Bellinger, who I could put at first base and still would be good defensively at first base, and my backup plan is Mervis and PJ Higgins, who was also decent over at first base, then I think that roster, the 40-man roster, could be impacted by Rivas. I don't think he's totally safe from that conversation, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. He's one of a handful of guys, like you said, like maybe 7 or 8 guys where you said opportunity on a platter. Here it is. And I would say he clearly was not able to take that and run with it. So
I like Clayton's comment
for him too. What's that?
Yeah. I said I like Clayton's comment. He says Rivas' best moment of the year was getting name dropped on The Bear, which is on Hulu. And that is true. The fact that they used Alfonzo Rivas' name in that show is pretty hilarious. So, yeah. Yeah.
It just wasn't a great season. It wasn't the season we wanted it to be for him.
Is Landon breaking Bears news here on the chat?
He is, and I just got the notification. The Bears and the Ravens are the Ravens are trading for Roquan Smith.
What?
So, yeah.
The full rebuild is on. Boy, they're going to be stacked with draft picks.
Well, good thing we're not the Bears show.
Yeah, Ian Rappaport, verified account, says it happened. Interesting. Well, the Bears guys have something to talk about. We better get off the air. Happy Halloween. More grading tomorrow. We have some special guests coming up this week.
In studio. Got a guest tomorrow in studio.
Love
it.
And I said it last week. Huge Ian Happ fan. And yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And, be safe out there trick-or-treating to all you kids that are watching. And thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook for Batman and the Gambler. I don't know what he's supposed to be. I guess me. And Top Dog. I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. See you tomorrow. Fly the W.
Love you guys.